Let me take you to celebrate Easter in the traditional village of Holloko, located 2 hours north of Budapest. During certain holidays, this village goes all out by continuing traditions that have been around for many years. Easter is one of those holidays, and it's definitely a stop to add to your itinerary if you'll be in Hungary.
We are currently in Holloko in Hungary, and we are walking to Holloko because unfortunately there's no buses that actually really go there.
Learn from me and plan with enough time so that you can find accommodation in Holloko.
After walking for like an hour, we finally made it.
Upon entering Holloko, you'll see a map so that you know where everything is and what this town has to offer. Walking around is definitely the best way to see everything, especially during celebrations like this one where the streets are closed to cars for the majority of the weekend. This photo is indicative of one of the events called the sprinkling, where men throw water on the women who are dressed in traditional clothing, which we'll see in a bit. The main attractions for the weekend are food, museums, and traditional singing and dancing. In some of the gardens, you'll actually see some sheep, which are used as a petting zoo for the little ones, and they can feed them as well. Depending on how the weather is and if it hasn't been too cold, you'll be lucky and be able to see some cherry blossoms, which is really beautiful. Food is my favorite reason to travel, so let's look at some delicious things that you could try. This little bakery had some options that we went back twice to try different pastries. They had so many options, and here there are the names and the prices, but please be aware that these are the prices from when I went and they can change from year to year. One of the specialty shops was actually a cheese one, and even though we didn't buy a whole block, we did sample some. It was very fresh. Desserts are definitely a must, and chimney cakes can be found around the whole country at any time, so we opted to go see the preparation of plum dumplings, from the kneading of the dough to adding sugar and the sliced plums and the wrapping before they get thrown in to get cooked. We witnessed the whole process. You get to see everyone do all of the steps, and it is mentioned in the itinerary for the weekend. I was kind of worried that they might get burned because of the way that they were throwing, and of course we had to try some. No food sampling would be complete without a wine tasting. Walking into this little shop felt like walking into a full-on party at a winery. We sampled 4 different regional wines and also had these little bread and onion appetizers. I've had them before in different places, but I'll be honest that right now I just cannot remember the name of it. With full bellies, it was time to continue exploring. The town itself is so cute to just wander around aimlessly, and honestly you could really just walk for hours, even though it's really small. During these wanders is when we first came across the men and women dressed in traditional clothes and dancing. It was a really unique sight, seeing them all together and in harmony. Holloko has lots of little shops and museums that you should wander into each. Definitely do that between meals and then also watching the dancing. Now it's time for a performance. Right in front of the church that begins the separation of the 2 little streets is where I first saw the dancing. I assumed both the men and women would dance together, so it was a surprise to see that only the women gathered in a circle and then partnered together to dance.
Én kerestem a magyar bőti sárgát, virágzik a repsze. Ha még egyszer kerülte volna, magyar gyerek országba nem volna. Kétszer kerülte meg Magyarországon, ha még egyszer kerülte volna.
Szájra éles csókat, a zsebkendő jelcsörgős magyarokat.
In addition to the museums and shops, there's also local craftsmen. This one in particular is Tibor, a leather maker. He actually has 17 years experience in this, even though the first 10 years he only did this as a hobby while working in IT. Eventually he decided to quit his job and make a living out of his hobby in his hometown of Holloko. Here you can see his shop and all of the things that he has in it to make all of the things that he makes. He's working on a little purse and the lining that goes on it. Look at that attention to detail and how every stitch is important. This traditional museum has lots of dresses and outfits that are worn during these special occasions and ones that are no longer in use. You get to see when and where and why certain attire is used. We made our way over to this doll museum that has over 300 vintage dolls all lined up. And because we're in a small room, they look like a lot, and I did find it a bit creepy, but it was cool because they wore traditional clothes over the years. We continued to see dancing as we walked around and even got a chance to dance with these lovely men and women, but I didn't get any videos of that, so you can just enjoy them dancing with other people that are visiting during this time. All in all, this was a really unique experience that I would gladly have again. That's all for now for Holloko during Easter. Make sure to subscribe for more travel content around the world. Till next time!